Hi everyone, Dave here at East Rosebud Fly and Tackle in Billings. Welcome back. This is the second in a three-part series on the Comparadun fly. Here's the actual fly. It's a very simple fly. There's no hackle involved. A stiff tail, some dubbing, and the correct hair for the wing. Here's kind of a frontal shot so you can see it actually looks like a mayfly wing when it's on the surface. So as I said in the first video, the hair is key. I'm going to be using a TMC 900BL simply because it's a wide gap fine hook, size 14. This, for example, is a blue-winged olive because of the dark wing and the olive body, and by simply changing colors and sizes you can make it a different species. I'm going to be using some micro Fibbets for the tail, a little bit of UV2 fine and dry dubbing for the body, and of course my hair, which is actually labeled as X-caddis hair. So like I said in the first video, the packaging is not important. The quality of the hair for the size hook you're tying dictates what you can do with it. I'm using a TMC 900BL. It's a wide gap fine wire hook. If you'd like a sturdier hook, the TMC 100 SPBL is also a wide gap and a little heavier wire. This is a size 14. I'm using Veevus 6/0 thread olive. You need a thread that you could put some pressure on to flare the hair, but you don't have to go wild with it. I'm going to start at about 70% point so I know where to tie my wing in. I want to make sure I leave enough of a thread tag. I'm going to use this to help me split my tails. Start here and wrap to the end of the shank, right above where the barb would be if it had a barb. Alright, the problem with micro Fibbets is they aren't exactly even and you can't stack them in a hair stacker, but I don't think the fish care. I'm going to take a small clump of them here, hook shank length, like so. Tilt them down here, make one soft wrap, roll them up on top, and then bring a hard wrap up and then down. And that puts them on top every time. Now I'm going to split the tail here with the thread. This is just one of many ways to divide the tail, but on a Comparadun it's important. They act like pontoons at the back of the fly to give the fly some stability. Like so. Get those spread nice and wide. And then tie that tag end down. And to keep your body even, go ahead and tie these down to where you started your thread. And we'll clip everybody off. And I'm going to dub a tapered body. Come back here just short of the end of the tail, but since you can't dub right up to the thread, you get a bit of a running start here. Keep your dubbing thin. That's why I like to use this UV2. Super fine, any dry fly dubbing that you like will work just fine. I'm using a medium olive here. Since it's mid-season on blue-winged olive, you want a medium olive color. Early and light in the season, blue-winged olives are much darker. That's why you see a multiple shades of dubbing all marked for blue-winged olive. It depends on the season. We'll taper this as we come forward. This is really a simple fly to tie. It's durable and it does a heck of a job with picky fish. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and wrap the rest of the hook so I have something to tie to. Using this medium dun colored hair, and of course you'll need to clean it and stack it. This hair has a little more of the fuzzies in it than I like, but otherwise it's good hair for Comparaduns. This cleaned out well. Hold it right down from the tips and get things cleaned up. All right, then stack it. Since we want the tips towards the front, take it out of the stacker that way. If you transfer hair back and forth between your fingers, you'll never be able to keep it nice and even. Now I have some broken hairs here that I'm going to remove. And as I said earlier, this hair has a little more fuzz than I like, but it cleans up. All right, I'm going to whittle that down a little bit. Most common error, people try to put too much hair on. You're just looking for a silhouette. Now, it may be hard for you to see on the camera, but the important aspect here, I got another broken hair, is that the tips end right here, and the hollow hair begins immediately behind it. You have to be able to tie into the hollow hair to flare this wing properly. So I have shank length there. Take 2 wraps, one on top of each other, and pull. Okay? If I were in the solid tips of the hair, I'd never get that flare. A few more wraps to tighten it down. Now, a lot of books will say to go ahead and bring your thread forward and stand this wing up. Dave Hughes makes an excellent comment in his book Trout Flies, and believe me, I've seen this happen myself, that after a few fish or a few months, your wing will start to cant forward. The hair takes a set with the thread. So to prevent that, I'm going to use one of his tricks here. First of all, I'm going to get these butts out of the way. Trim them as closely as you can, which means just a little bit at a time. If you bring your thread through the wing a couple of different times, you'll never have that wing slide forward on you again. So I'm just going to pull up about 1/3 of the wing, make 1 wrap, another 1/3, make 1 wrap, and then finally come in front and build a bit of a dam of thread. But that is a little trick that I have found to be very much true in keeping that wing vertical. Okay, if you've got any outriggers down below, you can certainly trim those. I'm going to add just a little more dubbing to finish up the head, to also help to prop that wing up. Just a tiny bit. I'll bring that up and just kind of build a dam here. Thread in front of it and taper a nice fine head. And with some good floatant on that hair, this sits right in the film, right where the mayfly sits. You can kind of preen this, fan it out a little bit. I'll take it out here so you can see it a little better. What you're looking for, as close as you can get to a 180 fan of hair. That allows that fly to sit right in the water. So there's a Comparadun, not a difficult fly at all if you have the right hair. Thanks for joining in. Stay tuned for the 3rd and last video in the series.